We'll start again from the beginning of chapter 2. And here we are dealing with introducing, welcome and meet the Jew. We are now going to introduce what distinguishes a Jew from lahavdil everybody else. Now, I want to go back to this point, which was at the end of chapter 1 also. And that is that we are not here to put down anyone. We don't put down the goyim. We actually elevate them, and we actually hold very high esteem of every being of Hashem. So if you were born a non-Jew, what are you? Ask the person what they are, and you'll see. You're a creation of God, and you deserve to be treated with absolute respect. There's a hierarchy of creation, and animals are animals. They also deserve to be treated with respect. And humans are humans, and it's a whole different caliber. And so we're not here to put them down. What we're here to do is to say that that's all true. And then you have the Jew. The Jew is not a part of creation, he's a part of creator. See, a regular human is created by Hashem. And as they all like to say, in the image of God. Yep. Created by Hashem, and you're super important, you're part of God. You're not part of God, I'm saying you're created by God. So the way to envision it would be, what distinguishes your child from someone else's child? Your kid is your kid. Someone else's kid is very, very important, and you must treat them with absolute respect, but it's not my child. What is a Jew? He is not a creation of Hashem, but rather he is a part of Hashem. Right? Everyone and everything is created by Hashem. And Jews are not created by Hashem, we're part of the Creator.
But Adam Arishan was, we said in this,
Vayipa, correct. We said about Adam Arishan saying, was he a Jew?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
The answer is like this.
First human being.
Great question. Exactly. Avraham Avinu was the first Jew. Why? Because the Pasuk says, he's able to transmit it to the next generation. Because he was able to figure out how to pass along the birthright of being a Jew and a soul to the next generation. And that was a process that he initiated. And that ended up with Matan Torah and the Jewish people being chosen as a people where it became embedded in our souls. But Adam Arishan had a neshama, he had a soul, because the pasuk that the Alter Rebbe is going to quote as to how you know what it means to be a Jewish soul is one that's read about Adam.
Right.
So Vayipach ba'af Nishvas Chaim, who was blown life into Adam. That's true.
So
But Adam did not have the power to give it over to the next generation. So either you had it or you didn't. Some were born with it, some were not.
So that's how it was?
Yes.
Just some
Until nowadays, you don't need to do anything to earn the right to be a Jew. What must you do? One of two things. Either have a Jewish mother or halachic conversion. Now, do you see why, when you understand this, obviously conversion becomes a whole new thing. You can't just say, I want to convert. Why do we Jews not look for converts? Why do we not seek converts? The answer is, because you can't look for a convert. If a conversion means that I subscribe to your idea of life, then of course, why not? You can convert. But that's not what it means. Conversion means basically that you always had a Yiddish neshama.
What does that mean? The neshama got lost somewhere between the Jews?
Correct. A soul of a Jew was born somehow into a non-Jewish entity, right? A family. And then that person will gravitate. You'll see it. That person will come and his neshama will be on fire and he'll be looking for Judaism. So the soul will look and seek and won't be able to find it. Talk to any real convert and you'll see there's like this quest,
So we are all
seeking out Hashem.
all the heathen that are like completely assimilated. Where's their burning soul? Like,
What's fascinating about this is all the Yidden are completely assimilated. And every one of them has a burning, powerful soul and doesn't know what to do with it. And it's the saddest thing in the world.
they're all saving whales.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned the story, but I have a yeshiva in near Monsey. And so the boys go out to reach out to Jews. And every Friday afternoon after Seder they go. And on Hanukkah, every night they go on Hanukkah night. So my brother has a place. I told you about it? Oh, that's the story, right?
Yeah.
So that was the Maisa. The Maisa was that this guy comes back and he doesn't know what Judaism is. So he doesn't know he's supposed to have the Hanukkah menorah, but he doesn't know how to do it. So what happens? So he comes home and he's like, okay, my soul's on fire and I need to do something Jewish. So he gives tzedakah because that's the one thing he knows. Jews are charitable, so he knows how to do it. And that's why the saddest thing in the world, you see, Jews are so liberal and fighting for every cause under the sun. More than anybody else.
Oh, the kips.
They love the
Whales, the straws.
the whales and the Palestinians and all that. They love them. Why? Because it's a Jewish soul which is not directed.
My daughter tips all the gas attendants.
If a Jew is not taught the right way and his soul is still on fire, then his soul doesn't know what to do with itself. And that's why it's so important to go out and reach out to Jews, because all Jews actually gravitate towards Hashem. And they don't know about it. And so when you appreciate this, when you can look at a Jew as a soul, let me explain to you what's going to happen to us. The book of Tanya essentially is designed for us to hone in on the fact that the person has a neshama, a soul. And the work is how to express the soul. Because remember, you have two souls. One's the animal, and one is the godly soul. So you'll always be gravitating between one and the other. And that's why you can see on Jews all the time. You can see there's a real struggle, an internal struggle that takes place. We don't know who we are. We are literally unsure of who we are and what we're about. It's hard. And the work is to be able to express the neshama. So I'll tell you, I think a group like this understands, right? When you're talking to a Jew, so let's say, for example, the person's not keeping Shabbos. So the common way amongst us FFBs is when someone's not keeping Shabbos, what do? You say, Shaygitz. Something like that, right? You basically tell them off. What do you mean? You got to keep Shabbos. It's pasnish. So you're trying to stop them from keeping Shabbos by shaming them and harassing them and taking them out of the community, etc. Now
But preventing them from falling.
what's the problem? The problem is, see, very often in years gone by, it actually worked, this system, because when you didn't have access to social media, you didn't know that there was a guy next to you on the next table who also had the same experience. So very rare would you find a group of people who are in the same thing, because nobody spoke about it, right? But nowadays, we have access to discover anonymously a whole group of people, and you can get a support group for all people who have the same issue. So we all struggle together. It's great. So you can't shame anyone into anything. So we have no choice. It's actually a positive development. What it means is that now you're forced to answer the real question from a soulful perspective. Talk to a neshama, talk to a soul, and tell her, why should you keep Shabbos? And what's the answer? Why should you keep Shabbos? There's a different answer. So the key is to understand yourself why to keep Shabbos and to talk neshama dikareid. To talk from a soulful perspective. Exactly. Precisely. Like, for example, Torah doesn't say to keep Shabbos. It doesn't say you must keep Shabbos. You know what it says? Siyam Shabbos Nekatshe. Why? Ki sheishes yom os Hashem l'shmayim v'zaretz. In other words, it's telling you. No, you want to be like Hashem says. You don't have to keep Shabbos. If you don't keep Shabbos, what's going to happen to you? Nothing. Skila. But you won't get it nowadays. Nothing will happen to you if you don't keep Shabbos. But if you want to be like Hashem, I keep Shabbos, I work 6 days, and then I kept Shabbos. Want to be like me? Keep Shabbos. You see how that's a different message? And if you talk from that space, then it's received by the person much more. So when you look at your child and you look at them as a nefesh elikisa chelek elikam ma'al, that energy is communicated. As opposed to if you look at them and you say, all I see is someone who's supposed to give me nachas and is not. And then every conversation is had in that context. What we want to do, and this is the art of Tanya, is to reframe ourselves to be able to communicate and to talk to ourselves and therefore others from a space of soul, of neshama.
It's so interesting. I went to two Lubavitcher weddings in the past couple of weeks. I was also telling them on the way here, you can't compare. You walk into a Siddish wedding and all you see, and you walk into a Lubavitcher wedding, you were able to, I wish I could have bottled it. You can sell it. It was so beautiful. They danced around the kala and they were singing the Mamaras there. It was elevated. And you saw it, as soon as you walked into the room, you saw it. Unbelievable.
But don't worry, we also got our problems. Fair share. Yeah. So let's read this again. Perek Beis. V'nefesh hashenis b'Yisrael yichelek elikam mimal mamish. I suggest you learn those words off by heart. These beginning words. The nefesh hashenis b'Yisrael, the second soul of a Jew, yichelek elikam mimal mamish. Those are critical words to know and to internalize and to remember. Learning Tanya Baal Peh is very important. Just saying the words of Tanya without the meaning, just the actual words already accomplishes something. And so just utter those words a bunch of times a day, see what happens in the way you look at things. And how do I know this? He says, so there's 3 sources. Number 1, that when Hashem created Adam, he blew into him the soul of life. And we say, Ve'ata nefachto bi. That's the bracha that we make every morning. Now, what does that mean? So, creation is metaphorically known as speech. We talk about Ba'asara Ma'amores Nivra Ha'olam, the 10 sayings with which the world was created. When Hashem makes light, it doesn't say He made light, but Yomer Elokim. When Hashem says anything and says Vayomer Elokim Hirakia, Vayomer Elokim this, Vayomer, it's all uttered through speech. Now, what is the distinction between speech versus blowing? Because Hashem said everything and everyone else into being. But he didn't say Adam into being. What he did was he blew him into being. He blew his neshama into him. And every morning when you wake up, you say, you blew it into me. So the Zohar explains, when you blow, how do you blow? You go deep inside and go from deep inside you. From your inside. Your very inside, you blow out. You go deep inside you and you go, and you blow. And then out comes you. So, consider this. Your neshama is not external to Hashem. When you blow, right, that breath, that's the neshama. It's godly. It's from Hashem's very insides. Now, later on in Igeres HaTshuva, which is later in Tanya, the 3rd part, he explains that a Jew is connected to Hashem by a rope. Yaakov chevel nachalosei. That rope is the same. It's like the blowing, right? When Hashem blows, so there's this stream of air, and he's blowing up. That's the rope, and that's what connects you to Hashem. Now that rope, well, he explains it's comprised of 613 strands, which means the 613 mitzvahs, what they do is they bind you to your soul. They allow you to express and experience your soul. So why should you do mitzvahs? Because you're a very sensitive individual and you have a soul. And if you do the mitzvahs, your soul is connected. And if you don't, and you're not connected to your soul, that's what it means, chorus. What's chorus mean? Disconnect. Cut. Cut it off. So, if a Jew, God forbid, marries a non-Jew, right? That's a chorus in a certain sense. That's a cut-off. Because your child's mother is not Jewish. And what happens then? The Judaism was not transmitted. So, what's wrong with marrying out? I mean, it's not like you're bad, you're terrible. You're cut off. That's the problem. And that's the same thing. What's wrong with being Mechalel Shabbos? What's wrong with using your phone on Shabbos? What's the problem?
You're asking if you want to be like Hashem, you kind of stop them there. They have no interest. I mean, they is very generous.
Right, because the Hashem, the word Hashem is probably traumatic.
Already,
right.
It comes with
So,
a lot of
let me rephrase it in another way, which
Hashem
makes
that
sense.
you're thinking of, I wouldn't either want to be connected with,
Right.
but they don't know of another.
Exactly. So, because you're not talking Neshama again, because you have to talk Neshama to Neshama. The way to talk Neshama to Neshama is first of all by being it. Right? You ask a different question. Do you want to be genuinely happy?
Yes.
That's the goal.
Everybody
That's
wants to
what
be
we're looking
genuinely happy.
Genuine happiness is being attached to you. That's when you're in a state of flow. Now, you have a problem. You're a Jew. You could resent that. You could do whatever you want, but you are a piece of God. So the neshama is not willing to accept fait accompli, the things you see around. And the neshama wants, talk to me, Hashem, talk to me, God. But don't tell me I must do it. Don't talk to me in that kind of way. The soul wants to be spoken soul language. So, at the end of the day, if you keep Shabbos, you will be genuinely and truly plugged in. Once a week, the neshama needs to stop being involved in bodily and physical and materialistic and external things. The neshama is the inside of you, right? So if you're doing things all the time, building, you never have a chance to actually go see what you've done. What's Shabbos? Shabbos means you're doing, come back to yourself.
somebody's tremendous pain, any time for themselves, reminds them that the tremendous pain and failure are in.
Because they're not going back to themselves. They're going back to the
They're tortured.
fake
right?
self, the tortured self.
Yeah, I think
But
it's
they
like
don't know
it's a
themselves.
temporary reprieve
And-
until
and-
they get enough help and therapy to be able to be themselves.
Correct.
Right.
The way to do it, by the way.
Anytime, me personally, I went through different things. Shabbos was the hardest
I
day.
just wanted to
It
say
just-
that.
I
I was
was not-
afraid.
you can't-
I was
you can't
afraid
do
to
Put our
light
hips
candles.
aside. The last
It
few
was like,
Shabbosim,
There was
you
no
stop
avoiding.
feeling,
Is-
right?
like
It's
she
you
said,
have to
it's
face
self-care.
yourself and
It's
your
hard.
It's torturing me because
Why?
I look, Shabbos is coming and I'm already feeling like I'm starting to choke. Why? Because there are no distractions. Baruch
Right.
Hashem. The things that are distracting me all day, the things that you don't think about, are that's all gone. I have my two oldest are not.
So
seen
it's
the
very
whole
hard
Shabbos.
to be yourself, basically, and with your own neshama.
Yeah, in your own
It's very
company.
hard to face my life on Shabbos.
Right.
Yes.
Not easy at all, right?
Hard to
So
face your
it's-
life, and it's Shabbos. It's
Keeping Shabbos is hard work.
It's very hard because he just finished Kiddush. He's not hungry. His brothers are still in
Was
bed.
Shabbos always hard for you?
Shabbos was never the best day of the week, but it was never so hard.
And what changed now that it became so hard?
3 of my kids are not doing the
The
just
Shabbos thing.
The Shabbos thing. Just the factual family, what's expected of you Shabbos thing. Not
Right.
even bonding with God. Just
So it's very, very, very difficult. When you're sitting on Shabbos, it's the hardest time in the world.
It's the same thing like for me. Like I'm sitting by I'm making kiddush myself. I'm eating challah everything myself. It's in your face.
It's
There's
in your
nothing to
face.
like. This is not how Shabbos is supposed to be.
well, there's a lot of
Right.
this is not what it's supposed to be, but this is just
It's in your face. There's no distraction. There's nothing
no
to do
distraction.
about it. It's just there.
and during the week you don't have this whole communal family officiality. Like you just
Shabbos is a cultural time, and therefore it's the hardest thing. Basically, whenever we have Judaism is familial, so whenever we have the family structure,
Yeah,
it's
so
good.
Shabbos-
And as soon as you don't, then the family structure is the problem, right?
You're saying if we would be able to focus on what Shabbos really is connecting to Hashem, it wouldn't matter to us that the family structure isn't that.
Right. The problem is easier said than done. This is very,
just
very
when you said this, and I'm
difficult.
like, okay, I'm not going to say what you want to say. Really?
Right.
I'm talking about next 3 days from now. I'm not talking about like in 30 years when life, will be well buffed. In 3 days from now, Shabbos is coming back.
This is
the
hard.
last one.
It's very difficult. I'll make a suggestion. Even though sometimes it's like, I don't have a right to make a suggestion. Because I don't know what you're going through. And it's it sounds like terror. And it's like, and you're probably also feeling, in addition to everything else, guilty for this. Like I'm supposed to.
You also
Guilty.
Besides the actual feeling of that I don't do, I feel guilty that I don't keep Shabbos. That's hard.
If I would have
Shameful.
made Shabbos more beautiful, more peaceful, less yelling, more, like the picture books where a woman always wearing a shaitel, why she always wearing a shaitel.
Right.
The whole, then they would totally sing Zmidas and say Dvar Torah.
For sure.
Right.
Because that's
So
that's
we're not really learning about Shabbos now. We're learning about the neshama, but let's discuss just a little bit of the work of Shabbos because we've addressed it now. It's about getting in touch with your neshama. Right? Do you daven? That's the problem.
I daven and still learn from you Shabbos.
Thanks.
Can I ask you if you? Well, let me just daven with you a little bit. Can we daven for a little bit?
Yeah.
Let's start Shabbos. L'chu neranenu Hashem. How many times do you say Elikim in L'chu neranenu? How many times do you say Hashem? The whole thing talks about L'chu neranenu Hashem. There are two names of Hashem. There's Yud Kei Vav Kei and there's Elikim. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the name of Hashem as He is exalted and above. Elikim is as Hashem comes down into nature.
We say Rachman Adin, right?
That's another rendition of it. Elohim is the numerical value, the gematria of 86, which is Hateva, nature. And Elohim is the name of Hashem, which changes according to wherever you are. That's why you have my God, your God, His God, their God. Elikai, Elikeinu, Elikechem, right? Elikeinu, Elikov. Yud Kei Vav Kei doesn't do that. Yud Kei Vav Kei is the way Hashem is. Elikim is the way Hashem is revealing to you. Elikim is nature, God in nature. Yud Kei Vav Kei is God as is above nature. Every Friday night, when you begin Shabbos, we're about to begin the soulful day. So when you say daven, I challenge you, if you try daven, I mean real daven, what that means is, you have to do work. Shabbos is not, you have to rest. I mean, it's not like restful to rest. It's actually hard work to rest. To rest is not easy. To rest means, right, Shabbos is v'daber dovar, can't speak things, and nor can you think it. Shabbos is to go back to the soulful zone. I'm a part of Hashem. So what does Hashem think about me? That's the work of Shabbos. To think about that is really, really hard. So let's keep Shabbos. Shabbos starts and you have a prayer, a tefillah. The tefillah is me rising to feel Hashem and to sing to Hashem and the rock of my salvation of how it was created. And then all the tefillahs are Shiru Hashem Shir Chadash. Sing a new song. Why? Ki Godel Hashem Noirahu Al Kol Elikim. What does that mean? Noirahu Al Kol Elikim. Understand the words? Noirahu. He is.
I'm gonna do it in English.
Fearful.
Awesome. Al Kol Eloikim. What's that?
Nature.
All other gods. But that sounds like Kfira. What other gods?
Exactly.
What it means is, it's not other gods, it's Hashem. There's Hashem when He's Hashem, and Hashem is Elikim. Elikim is Hashem as He manifests Himself during the week. Exactly. That's how we have a tefillah called Kiddush, which is to let Shabbos in, and then we block Shabbos, Havdalah, which is, okay, we're done, and now we've got to go back to the work week. The work week is Asher Bara Elikim Lasos. So you could do things. Hashem moves away like a parent does. Very nice to you. You can't be involved in everything of your child. Move away and let the child operate on their own. Asher bara Elikim, He vacated space for Elikim Lasos, so that you can do things yourself. Get it? For you to do the work. So here's the work of Shabbos. The work of Shabbos is to get into a space of experiencing your soul. If you don't do the work, then Shabbos is traumatic.
My soul hurts.
Your soul doesn't hurt.
Sure feels like it's
Your soul, the setting of your soul hurts. We'll learn that soon, what that means, why your soul hurts. Your soul doesn't hurt. Your soul is absolutely gloriously, specially excited to be where she is. What you want to
She's
do,
hurting.
yes.
That's what I
So
meant.
here's how you start Shabbos. Chun Rananol Hashem means Hashem is taking care of me. I'm being taken care of all the time by Hashem. And then one part of me says, no, I'm not. Look at this. My child is that. 3 children noch. It's not working. Ask yourself a simple question now. What are you feeling? Give yourself a little bit of space. What are you feeling? Grief.
They always start crying on Shabbos, so
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
that doesn't quite work well.
There is a difference of how you cry. You can cry a cry that says, okay, let me cry this out. Let me cry at the worst case scenario here. It's pretty bad. I'm going to cry that out. Let me cry. And you cry. Not a cry of despair. A cry of pain.
There's certain cries that you feel so much better afterwards. This
Yeah.
isn't that.
Okay, do that.
It's a
There
pity
is no
party
that.
cry.
That's the thing. This isn't, oh my gosh, I had such a hard day and tomorrow's going to be a better day.
I'm going to spell this out to you.
Honestly,
I'm
put
going to
something
spell
in
this
that.
out to you in a soulful way. I'm going to spell it out to you in a soulful way. I hope in a soulful way. And I'm going to say to you like it is. Right? And you tell me you'll disagree. I know. But I'm going to say it anyway. Right? Here's what it is. There is an neshama, a chelek elika mimal mamish. And this piece of Hashem is right now in pain. It's a princess that's being taken hostage by the dragon, by the Yimach Shmam. It's taken hostage. There's a princess, a beautiful, stunning princess. And she's absolutely like spectacular and superb. And where is she? She's stuck in the middle of the klippa. We're going to learn about the klippa. Klippa is the shell, that which blocks Hashem's energy. So what I have is a neshama stuck in a very bad setting. The setting is bad, the neshama is not. And what Hashem gave me as a parent is, let's get this straight. My child is not my problem. It's not my problem. Because frankly, I don't know how to make children. Do you? Then they come out like, you think you're the mother, you're the father, you know how to make kids. You don't know how to do it. Father and mother get together, baby comes out. A lot of work, sure. But the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, perfect. It's amazing. It's nothing to do with you. In fact, honoring your parent is a shaila in halacha. How can we not honor? It's like shituf. It's like believing in another God. Right? You can't believe in partners to Hashem. So how can you not believe that a parent is partnering to Hashem? Good question, because Torah says so. Take away the problem from you. That's how you do l'chun ranan ol Hashem. You accept this is terrible, and I'm feeling really, really bad. Let me reveal this secret. That when I'm in an Elikim mode, that's Hashem as He lowers Himself down to me. Then I think I'm the parent. I'm going to deal with this. In Havaya mode, Hashem is taking care of everything. It's not my problem. Let go. Let go of the problems. Let go of the issues. This is not easy. This is hard work. But let me tell you, you'll be a much better parent if you don't have the chip on your shoulder. So Shabbos is not, it's a time, it's not, oh yeah, I'm going to feel rest. I'm not feeling rest. It's terrible. Now I have a hard time on Shabbos. Shabbos is the work of feeling that Hashem is taking care of you. That's work. Very hard work. And the mission is to discover that. I guarantee you that something will change. If you start, like we discussed, and you usher in the Shabbos with the Shabbos candles, right? You do that work of asher, the word asher. You get excited and happy. Wow, it's amazing. I get to light Shabbos candles. It's crazy. I am a conduit to Hashem's energy. And then I get to keep Shabbos. And that's another oisher, another excitement. Wow. And don't just keep Shabbos by rote. Start getting excited over Shabbos. Internally excited. This is not a jumping for joy kind of thing. It's internally, peacefully happy. Peacefully happy with just being. To be without the distractions is not easy. But your neshama needs this and is looking for it and is chalishing for it. Does this make sense?
Very theoretically. but
Yeah,
how do
to
you
me
bring
it's
it
like I
from
hear
your-
words and I'm like, and how do you get from A to Z? And I'm like to B.
Yes.
Because
Cherry on top.
Taking away distraction
Yeah.
means tapping into your pain. I don't understand how that is what Hashem wants me to sit in.
tap into your pain for starters before you start. Say Hashem, here's how you start. Before you say L'chon Ranino, identify the pain that's going on. This is the pain. Hashem, I'm giving this pain over to you. That's the work. Because actually the pain is not my pain, it's your problem.
Yeah, it's so painful to sit in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so much easier to just push it away and be distracted.
Correct. But you're not pushing it away, you're just ignoring it.
True.
So what you want to do is go hone right into it and say, this pain is,
And then we're allowed to cry that with that pain on Shabbos.
I did that for 2
Before
years.
Shabbos. Start at the
Every
beginning.
single Friday night, I started my Friday night blinking my head off. Didn't feel better. You had a bunch of kids staring at you like, I don't know what.
No, it's not about crying. It's about you look, identify, this is the problem I have. This is real work. I have a problem. The problem I have is I'm feeling detached from Hashem. I'm feeling pain of my child being in this space. This is hard. So it's very painful for me. I'm feeling the pain. And you ever watch yourself feel pain? The heart heavy, it's hard,
It hurts.
right? But don't judge yourself, just look at the pain. Just
I have another question.
look at it.
I get my father coming to me every week till 120. My mother just slipped away, and my father lives closest to me. And he sits at our table, right? And that look, so that's like on top of everything else. I don't know, it's just even hotter. It's just like the
Right.
snowball.
My family-
another couple of times,
my
and it
family's
just got
got
bigger.
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
look, and I'm like cringing, and my shoulders hunch, and yeah.
It's like a glitter. Every person that gets touched just gets sparkled with it.
So it's like really not easy, and like I can't even explain any of this to him because it's just not gonna
The
work.
generation just doesn't
Right.
get it.
So there's a feeling by you now, right? What that do to you now? You're identifying yourself with what feeling came from your father. What's the real feeling that came there?
Shame.
Shame. Right? That's
And
the
he's
one.
Not saying anything.
It-
It's just
He's not saying anything. You're feeling that, right?
interpreting,
So let me explain to you how you keep Shabbos, how you bring your neshama. Underneath that shame
You're taking responsibility.
is your soul, right? You're taking responsibility. It's as if it's your problem. You understand? What you want to do is sit in that shame.
So I just have to sit there and say and look back at him and smile and like this is not me.
No,
This is
I don't care what you do with him. Do this with yourself. You sit down in yourself and you say, "This is hard. I'm feeling shame."
But isn't it, or can't she include, like, Hashem gave him this grandkids? Hashem takes everything.
You
and-
can't channel Hashem's energy down so long as you're part of the problem. Because when you're talking to your father, you're not trying to talk to him about it. There's no soulful conversation.
we're
You
not
just
talking.
the eyes when you're looking, communicating, right?
The
So
unspoken
you
communication.
are feeling shame. Because you're feeling shame, what happens? You're communicating from a shameful space. That is not soulful. You're just trying to get away from your shame, therefore it's not working. So how do you do the work? You sit there and you start L'chon Ranino. For L'chon Ranino, you could do it during Shabbos also. You say, "Whoa, I'm feeling shame," and you'll notice it's a feeling in the body. Your body will feel the shame. You ever notice that?
It prickles.
It's hard. There's a feeling of deep shame somewhere inside you. So notice the feeling over here. And now you're going to say, "Ki Godel Hashem mikol ha'elekim." All those little forces that are in me and telling me that I should be feeling shame. But really, after I feel the shame, I say, "Hashem, it's all you. I know it's all you. Because you're running everything and you're doing the whole thing. I let it go." You'll discover a new result. Right? Because really, it's not much of a big deal, right? You see, if a non-frum kid would come to you and they're not your kid, you'd be so good. Because you know how to handle them. You just give them love and there's no, this shame is not there. That shame is what's blocking you. So is it easy to overcome it? No, it's hard work. But when you work through it, that's called keeping Shabbos. You're the Shom of Bnei Shabbos.
Could I suggest somatic? Somatic just does that. Somatic goes into your body, and you meet the shame comes up, and you meet it, and you let the body work it out.
I suggest you daven.
Daven is good also, but I'm saying whatever. But
What I'm saying is, Hashem says,
Understand what I'm
what?
saying.
When we start working on ourselves to overcome the challenges, and we work on ourselves to speak from within. So on a very basic level, right? How do you know if you're talking neshama or not? The answer is, ask yourself why you're talking. And you'll see, I'm talking to my kid, and really I'm trying to get away from my shame. Just notice on yourself. It's amazing to know. When you get in touch with yourself, you'll realize there's these blockages.
But
And then-
pain, but maybe doesn't come from my children so much.
The what?
Maybe my pain doesn't come.
No,
from
it's your
my
own.
children. It comes from my
Of course.
purpose that I'm not close to
Correct.
Hashem wherever I'm at.
Correct? So how do you do this? The answer is,
When I go into Shabbos, it's not about so much the kids. It's about me that I'm not connecting. with
Right, so
Hashem
the answer is
with
very-
me. So I want to run away and just sleep the whole Shabbos.
right, but you can't sleep the whole Shabbos because human beings only sleep a certain amount of time. So you have to stay awake. What?
You can definitely try. I've been making
Right,
great
but there's
strides.
another way to do it. Try do a simple thing. It works wonders. Try and allow yourself to notice what external feeling you're having, and notice this thing that's happening. Just
What
in other
if
words,
you're just feeling disconnected?
I'm just saying, when you see your father sitting at the table looking at your kids, right? So you're trying to do anything to solve this. There's a shame inside you, and you're trying to get away from it. It's not Shabbos.
But it's also a certain looseness. We were raised military boot camp. My
Right.
father was a Ben Yochid, Israeli, and his parents raised him, with
Right.
it. So when that looseness is gone in my house now, because of what we went through 2 times, I have 2, Baruch Hashem. So that look also says, like in Yiddish you'd say, Nishkan Chiddish.
Right.
Right?
That-
And that's what's
This is
eating
why-
me.
No,
I feel
but-
like I gave up so much.
But what I'm saying is,
Acknowledge,
so what I'm saying is, but now you're not. That's called being a cultural Jew. I'm sorry.
And you have
That's
to
not
be
called being
such
Jewish.
A special person, and so he buried 3 children. I lost 3 siblings. He went through so much. He's a special person, but there's still that.
All you're doing now is increasing your feeling of shame. You're saying, and not only that, but my father doesn't deserve this because he's such a good guy.
Well, I have to say something.
Yeah.
Because of different things, obviously, that I'm going through and different things that I am changing in my mindset, I find now, like, my sister's here from Eretz Israel, and she said, my mother is a very special woman. I'm not
There
sure.
are things
I'm
that
just like,
there are
"That's
things that
you."
trigger us.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It was-
Not the kids are the problem. It triggers us because you're a human being.
Right.
Now understand what's going on inside you. You have 2 souls. You have a Nefesh Elikis and a Nefesh Abamis. The Nefesh Abamis is a good guy. Very nice guy. But he just wants things for himself. So therefore, Nefesh Abamis says, Nefesh Abamis says, I need to make my father feel good because he deserves it and he's such a good guy and all the things, and it feels shame. Shame, look back to chapter 1. Which one is that? Figure out which one it is between fire, wind, water, and earth. Wind? I think it's more like earth. I think it's like the Atzvus. Maybe, I don't know. We can figure out which one it is exactly. But it's one of those. And therefore it's Nefesh Abamis. It's not godly. So when you bring that into your Shabbos table now, Hashem is not present.
Okay, walk me through this.
Hard work.
2 petty kids, big nice table, everyone else is gone. Practically speaking, how do you take your shame and your feeling of failure, such complete and utter failure, out of the picture and just focus on Shabbos? Seriously,
Davening.
when I need to serve a meal.
Talk to Hashem.
Davening
While
beforehand.
serving gefilte fish.
No. Start the work beforehand. First of all, Misha Torach Be'er Shabbos Yechel B'Shabbos. So you have to work before Shabbos to do it. Exactly, doing the work now. First of all, it's hard. This is not
Yeah,
easy.
let's establish that across the board.
Yes, and I don't know if I can tell you, do this and then it's magic potent and it's going to work, no problem. No. There's no magic potion. This is hard work and it's not double or nothing. It's slowly but surely working your inside neshama to be revealed out on the outside. And what you want to start working is understanding what the feeling is. There's a feeling of shame there also, and grief. Correct?
Oh yeah, and failure.
Notice and the failure, right? Total inadequacy. But guess what? What's wrong with being a failure?
Kind of like you're not doing your job.
So,
Your purpose.
no offense, but you know you're a little worthless nothing anyway.
True.
Yeah, I
When
know
I
that
go into
shit.
that whole parsha, it gets people very confusing.
Today you're here, tomorrow you're dead.
Yeah.
There's nothing, whatever. We're human beings. Okay?
That's not me. Feel
It's
better,
true,
right?
but in the
Yeah, let it go.
in the 90-something
Let-
years,
what I'm saying is
you
let-
have to have purpose. It's true, we're only a flit in the we're not even a flit.
That's
nothing. So,
there's
but we're
just
here.
every time you say that, notice what you're saying. There's an insecurity. There's a different. You're trying to basically you're fumbling around trying to jump for something to
I
try
know
to get
it's-
something
I know
done.
it's-
And it's hard.
We keep saying that it's okay to be Kirasha and we're gonna be in all I want is someone to tell me you're good.
You're
You're
good.
okay. Thanks.
You're not good, you're better than
I was
good.
scared to go. Someone was gonna take me to get a bracha, and I was scared to go because he's gonna see the virus on my forehead or something.
No, 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 shame.
Hold on. One second. That's exactly how you keep Shabbos, if you want to know. Shabbos is the work of saying you're okay. That's what Shabbos means. Shabbos is getting into a space with your soul.
So here you're
And
telling
your
it to
soul-
yourself, not
exactly.
somebody else telling you.
Exactly.
So you
Your
have to believe
soul,
it.
you don't have to believe it. You inherently know it. When you let's understand this. Your soul is, say the words, I'm not working for God. I am a part of God. Say if I'm a part of God, what does that mean?
He deserves better.
But I'm awesome.
He does not deserve better. You are the best that he could ever have had. There's nothing better than you. And frankly, you don't need to do anything to be connected to him. You don't need to earn his acknowledgement. You know what? I'm going to say very. It's a very what's it called? No, a very fanatical thing to say. But think about it this way: what's the purpose of having Hashem? Why do we need Hashem?
Everything Hashem is.
Right, you can't ask that question, right? Because when you ask that question, what do you mean we need Hashem? What do you need me for? Is the question. Not what do you need Hashem for. The nefesh Hashem needs to be so the chelek elokam mamish means you're part of Hashem. So the same way you can't ask what do you need Hashem for, you cannot ask what do you need a Jew for. He is a part of Hashem. He is, because he
If he's
is.
not blocked.
If he's connected to his neshama. No, one second. It's regardless. Then you won't know about it. Then you'll be in pain because you don't get it. That's why. That's what happens. Right now you're sitting over there and you're saying, I need to prove to my father. I feel shame. I need to prove to my father, to prove to whatever, because otherwise I feel shame and grief and all these different feelings. No, you don't. You're just good. You're good because you have a neshama. All you need to do is uncover the schmutz, the dirt that's on top of the neshama, and discover the neshama inside you. Rinse the
You're
diamonds.
good because you have an Hashem. It feels like you have to believe. You're trying to pacify yourself.
You're not good because you have a neshama. You're feeling not good because you're not in touch with your neshama. If you start noticing, I'm just feeling shame, okay, and really I'm good just because I am. I'm special.
It feels like you're absolving yourself of work that you need to do.
Correct.
Hashem does everything.
You don't need to do anything.
That's right, because as long as we thought that we're responsible and we're the mother and we have to take care
Right.
of them, we have to make sure
Exactly.
that we have to make sure we have a shas and have a stable, and we make sure that there's no
That's
there's no
kind of all
anger.
those things are actually true.
No, they're not. They're not true at all.
Let's go. We're
You're
not
given pitty little
responsible.
babies, right? One by one, pitty little ones. And what are you supposed to do with them? Just put them in the cradle and figure it out? No, you're supposed to raise them and make them into products of the society that you're part of.
No, you're supposed to give them physical needs that they should be able to
More
do
than
their
physical.
top
Hashem-
That's not true.
That
It's
is
the
true.
their emotional, their physical, their psychological, all their needs.
That's not
It's
true.
just
That's not true.
food.
That's Hashem's job.
You have to,
Not
one second.
true.
I disagree with that.
Here's the work. The
I
work
want
is,
to tell you something. I did everything in my life.
This is not
I'm
about
just
you.
staying
This is
home
not
mother.
about
I have to define to you what you just said. When you're saying that you're in a shama, that you started going to nursing homes to visit people and started going to shul, etc., let me just explain to you what that is in simple language. It means when you get in touch with your neshama ain't sitting over there saying, it's cool, it's great, it's wonderful. The neshama says, give me stuff that makes me feel good.
Of course.
The stuff that makes the neshama feel good is called Torah and mitzvahs. We don't do Torah and mitzvahs because mitzvahs and
Yeah,
daf
but
and
when
whatever
you're
and all
doing
that.
everything for your husband and your kids, you don't get a thank you. When you go visit this old lady, you should give the biggest thank you, the biggest no, thanks for coming. I think it was just, I don't know, I needed some specific, I don't know.
Beautiful. It means okay. Validation that your neshama is going through good stuff. Amazing. The work is to get in touch with the soul and start talking neshama dikarei and start talking from the perspective of the
So
soul,
Rabbi said
and this
before,
ain't
are you
easy.
talking to your neshama and then you finish?
Are you talking through your neshama? That's the question. Are you talking neshama? Are you talking soul? Or are you talking me? If you're trying to get away from a feeling that's blocking you, you're not talking neshama dikarei. It's not the soulful talk. It's you trying to get away from something that's blocking you and that's hurting you. If you're talking from the perspective of the soul, that's real.
I feel like you're trying to get me to speak Italian. I don't know Italian.
We're getting there, we're learning.
We need
we're Russian.
to. There's a book of how to discover your soul.
Tanya?
Follow the book.
Okay,
We're learning it, and you'll discover how to reveal the neshama. But you have to do the work. It's not just sitting over there, and it's actually meditating, contemplating, and living with the space. Let's do a few more lines. This is right. The souls of the Jews. This is the second metaphor. First one was that you're blown from Hashem. The second one is you're Hashem's thought. You come from Hashem's thought. What does that mean, Hashem's thought? So the pshat is, everything else in creation, Hashem spoke into existence. Adam Rishon, he blew him in, or otherwise put Yisrael all over Machshava, where Hashem's thought. You know that what you say is what you're trying to communicate to someone else. What you think is what you communicate to yourself. Everything else in the world is Hashem's speech. A Jew is Hashem's thought. You're one with Him, you're a part of Him, this is who you are. So, Jews are not working for Hashem. You want to know what Hashem's thinking? Look at your child, that's what Hashem's thinking. That's the Jew. And you might not see it all the time because there's a lot of dirt covering it up and blocking it and clogging the channels. But every so often you'll discover, oh my gosh, wow, what a neshama. That's the part that it is. Kedichsiv, as it says, the third metaphor, B'ni b'choyer Yisrael. Where does Alter Rebbe get this idea that we have a neshama? Because it says in the pasuk, B'ni b'choyer Yisrael. Moshe says to Pari, my son, my firstborn Yisrael. What does that mean? He's my kid. Bonim atem Hashem elekechem in Parashat Re'eh. You're Hashem's children. And when the definition of a child is this. Pirush k'mo she'aben nimshach imei ha'ov. How do you make a child? The brain of the father, right, has a trigger and something comes out of it, and the child comes out, and that sperm that creates the child is the very essence of the father. Kach kivyochel, so too, but we have an analogy. Nishmas kol ish Yisrael, the soul of every single Jew, comes from the thought and the wisdom of Hashem. Hashem's brain, so to speak, is the child. The child is the expression of Hashem's brain, literally. That's why children look exact. Like sometimes, you ever see like a kid, like you do exactly what your mother did or your father did. You're like exactly the same. And suddenly you think the same, you're whatever. You don't even realize it because you are one with Him. A Jew is Hashem's son. He comes from Hashem's brain. Hashem's brain is not a knowable thing. Him and His brain are one. The Rambam says, Hashem is the knower and the known. Which means if I know something, then my knowledge is external to me. Because I didn't know it, and now I get to know it. But Hashem, the Rambam says, He's the knower, the known, and the knowledge all in one. That's what Hashem is. It's not possible for a person to actually understand what this means, that Hashem and His knowledge are one. Eve says, can you actually investigate Hashem? My thoughts are not your thoughts. So Hashem, you come from Hashem. So basically, every Jew is essentially from Hashem's brain. The brain of the father produces the sperm, which then produces the son, and the son is always attached to the father. So all these three analogies, which is that your soul is blowing from Hashem, number one. Number two, you come from Hashem's thought. Number three, you're Hashem's child. What does that mean to you? You're a part of God. Now imagine you can live in that space of feeling that part of Hashem. Because when you come from Hashem's brain, what does it mean to come from Hashem's brain? The brain, right? And the intellect of the person is separate from him. The intellect of Hashem is not separate, it's one with him. Now there is a footnote over here. I'm not going to go through the footnote. It's very Kabbalistic, but it's a footnote. And this idea is that every Jew comes from Hashem. Now the next part, we'll leave it over there, but the next part is basically that there's many different types of souls. Souls are divided into different, all different types. There's some souls are brain souls, like the child. There's a brain and a heart, and a toenail, and a heel. Which one's the best?
Right? Heart.
The brain or the heart?
Brain.
Right? Brain. Brain, heart, those are whatever, they're pretty important, both of them. How important is the heel?
It's important.
Not so important. Would you give up your heel?
No.
No. Every Jew, together, there's a child of Hashem, all the generations together. So everyone's a child, meaning we're all part of this one wholesome being of a child of the Father. So every one of us is another part of the body. So if you're a holy Jew, it's wonderful, that's great, that's so sweet. Maybe you're a brain or a heart. You could be a heel Jew. Heels don't have much feeling in them. Maybe you're a nail. But you're always a part of the child, part of this child of Hashem. And this takes us on a journey of understanding what every Jew is and who we are as a part of Hashem. Every one of us carries the very DNA of God inside of us.
Can you become a
That's
soul
who we
to
are.
a heart?
Can you become a soul to a heart? No.